Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Lookner with Right Side Broadcasting, coming to you with a news alert about the situation in Catalonia, which has been developing over the last couple months. Today, it ramped up even more when Catalonia's parliament declared independence. They voted on an official declaration of independence, and minutes after that, I believe within the hour, the Spanish government voted to invoke Article 155 and take over the region of Catalonia. That could involve seizing the president, removing the leaders of Catalonia, taking over the police force of Catalonia, taking over the finances, taking over the whole government of Catalonia. What will happen there in the coming hours, days, weeks? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So we want to talk about that situation here with you today on the broadcast. Thank you for joining us. And we'd also like to hear your comments on the story. So if you have any comments during the broadcast, write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Quick thank you to the moderators in the chat room, both on YouTube and on rsbn.tv for moderating the chat today. So let's talk about this story. It's pretty crazy. You know, I thought about a month or so ago, Catalonia had this referendum for independence where they had an independence vote, and Spain said don't have it, but Catalonia had it anyway. Not everybody voted. About 40% of the voting population voted, and the people who didn't want independence sat out of the vote. But about 40% of the population turned up, and 90% of those people, over 90%, voted for independence. So rough estimates are that roughly half of the people in Catalonia want independence from Spain. And in Parliament, they make up over slightly more than half of the Parliament there, and that Parliament today voted for independence. But my point was, when they had this referendum, Spain said don't have it, and then they had the referendum anyway. And if you remember, Spain sent in police, and they beat up a bunch of people, and they forcibly took a bunch of ballot boxes away. But they ended up plowing through with the referendum anyway, although under kind of crazy circumstances. There was a lot of violence going on, and I kind of thought, though, after that, the next couple of weeks, things seem to settle down a little bit. And I figured, well, they'll negotiate it away and they'll reach some kind of settlement. But it hasn't worked out that way. Spain's been very forceful about saying you have to nullify. I think they said nullify or officially negate or annul this vote that you had. And Catalonia has been saying we want to negotiate. But right now, it's taken another step today. Catalonia did declare independence officially, and Spain has officially invoked Article 155 of their constitution, which has never been used. That constitution dates from 1978 after the Franco regime, and that constitution has an article in it, Article 155, which basically lets Spain go into a state that's acting contrary to Spanish national interests, and basically take whatever necessary action needs to be taken to handle the situation. So, big question here is, what is Spain going to do about this? Is Spain going to send police or troops into Catalonia and start arresting leaders, try to take over the parliament building by force? There are huge amounts of people outside the parliament building in Catalonia, and I've heard that they say they're going to stay there. So this could get worse, and it's definitely ramping up, and it could get violent. Hopefully it will not, but we'll have to keep an eye on what's going on. So we want to go over the story for you today and talk more about it, and also take your comments. So again, if you have any comments, write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Let us just go over the details of what happened today first. And real quick, for those who don't know, there's Spain, there's Catalonia. It's a region of Spain in the northeast of Spain. It's got around 7 million people in it. Barcelona is in Catalonia, and it's a bit more wealthy than the rest of Spain, or than Spain in general. And for decades, Catalonia has wanted more independence. This dates back, and there's some I don't know if you want to say bad blood, but there's a lot of history there. So during the Franco regime, in the middle of the 20th century, there was a real crackdown on Catalonian language, Catalonian culture. And Catalonia has wanted, there's been a movement for more independence and from some people, complete independence in Catalonia since then. And Catalonia now has a degree of autonomy. They do handle a lot of their own stuff there, but there's a sizable group of people who wants complete independence. And there are various reasons for this. Some people there want it as a cultural thing. They think they're their own nation and they want to be recognized as such. Some people there think that that they contribute too much money to Spain and they don't get enough back, so that like, you know, they're making more money than the rest of the country and they put in a certain amount and pay in taxes and they don't get the, you know, an equivalent amount back. So there are different kinds of reasons people want autonomy there, but a fair amount do. And as I said before, estimates range from, you know, 40, 50, maybe a little over 50% of the population there who wants independence, but no one's exactly sure. It's hard to exactly say. So there's Catalonia right there. And let's look here at a story about what happened today in Catalonia. And I apologize. By the way, I just noticed today my chair has started to squeak. I'll have to oil this later, so I apologize if you hear the squeaky chair. Spain moves to take control of Catalonia after secession vote. And that picture right there, that is independence supporters outside of the Catalan Parliament building. And as I said before, what happens if Spain tries to send in soldiers to take over the Parliament building? They're going to run into those people. Might we see violence like we saw in the during the referendum? I hope not, but it bears watching. So let's read a little of this article from the New York Times. In a major escalation of Spain's territorial conflict, the Spanish Senate on Friday authorized the government to take direct control of the fractious region of Catalonia just after Catalan lawmakers declared the region's independence. So the Spanish government now has authority to take over Catalonia. The dueling actions set up a potential showdown over the weekend as Spain careened into its greatest constitutional crisis since it embraced democracy in 1978. Now, we really don't know what will happen. You know, for all you know, this weekend or tonight, Spain could start sending police or troops into Catalonia to start doing stuff there, or they might not. We just don't know. The Senate in Spain voted 214 to 47 to invoke Article 155 of Spain's constitution, granting Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy a package of extraordinary powers to suppress Catalonia's independence drive. The measure will go into effect after it is published in the government register, which is expected to happen Friday night. So that suggests that it's not official until Friday night. But remember, in Spain, I think it is almost Friday night. Spanish time, what is the time in Spain right now? Let's say Madrid. Madrid time right now is 7:26 p.m. So it's 7:26 p.m. in Madrid. And in Barcelona, it is 7:26 as well. So it is Friday night there. In a speech Friday before the vote, Mr. Rajoy, the Prime Minister of Spain, said he had no alternative because the Catalan leader, Carles Puigdemont, and his separatist cabinet had pursued an illegal and unilateral path that was contrary to the normal behavior in any democratic country like ours. Undeterred by the government's threat and after a bitter debate in the Catalan Parliament. So some people in the Catalan Parliament, there's a sizable group there that did not want to vote for independence. But after a bitter debate today in the Catalan Parliament, separatists in the Catalan Parliament passed a resolution to create a Catalan Republic as an independent state. Lawmakers opposed to independence walked out of the chamber in protest before the vote. Mr. Puigdemont came close on Thursday to calling early regional elections, but dropped the idea and instead told Catalonia's parliament that it would have to make a decision on independence the next day. He leads a fragile separatist coalition that has 72 of the body's 135 seats. So, worth emphasizing again that it's not like all of Catalonia is united in wanting independence. The separatists control 72 of the 135 seats in parliament, which is a bit over 50%. In the independence referendum they had held about a month ago, only about 40% of eligible voters showed up, and the vast majority of those voted for independence, but a lot of people who didn't want independence stayed home. In previous polls before the election, the numbers of people who said they wanted independence was around 35-40%, but perhaps more of them now want it, especially with all the violence that happened during the independence vote. So it's not that a whole region uniformly wants independence, and that could lead to some issues maybe in Catalonia. I would assume there's some tension right now between, and there clearly is because there was a heated debate in Parliament today, and there are some people in the Catalonian Parliament who don't want independence, who thinks it's very dangerous for the Parliament to have declared independence. They probably don't want Spain coming in and taking over their region. During the debate that preceded the vote, Catalan lawmakers traded accusations and in turn described the occasion as historic and happy, or else tragic and a serious violation of Spain's constitution. Addressing the Catalan parliament in Spanish, Carles Carrizo, a lawmaker from Ciudadanos, a party that opposes secession, told Mr. Puigdemont and separatist lawmakers that, far from creating a new Catalan republic, you will go down in history for having fractured Catalonia and for sinking the institutions of Catalonia. In front of the assembly, this parliamentary representative tore apart a copy of the independence resolution. Your job is not to promote unrealizable dreams, but to improve the daily lives of people. So one criticism I've heard of the people in parliament in Catalonia who voted today for independence is that, and President Puigdemont, is that they're promising something they can't actually give. Some people, like this lawmaker, think this independence declaration is illegal. Spain's going to come in and stop it, so it's irresponsible to actually tell people we can do this and to actually vote this in. And there was this other point I was going to make. I can't remember it. What was I going to say? I'll have to come back to it. But anyways, I want to first thank Lars Anderson, just made a donation. Thank you, Lars Anderson, from Sweden, made a donation from Sweden and said, go Catalonians, fight for your freedom. Thank you, Lars. And we are viewer supported here. Your donations are what keeps us on the air and allows us to do news coverage like this. I'm guessing already this stream is probably about 10 minutes long. Already we've probably done more continuous coverage of this than the mainstream media has done today, at least American mainstream media. Now, maybe they did some on it when it actually happened like this morning, but I don't think so. And I'm sure by the end of this stream, we will have done more continuous coverage on this than any of the mainstream media news networks. If you like that kind of coverage, please consider donating, because your donations keep us on the air. You can donate by going to the YouTube chat room next to the broadcast, going to the bottom of the YouTube chat and clicking on the little dollar sign there, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Let's continue looking at the details of what happened today. And there was that one point I wanted to make. What was that point? Oh, so there's also a debate in Catalonia. The parliament did vote for independence today, but there is a debate over whether the independence referendum of a month ago really gave parliament and the president the authority, what's the right word I want to use? Not moral authority, but the mandate to declare independence. Some people in Catalonia say, look, this referendum, only 40% of the people showed up. It was technically illegal according to the Spanish government. And even, also it was kind of weird because the police came and there was some violence and they were hiding ballot boxes. And it wasn't like a really regular, normal kind of vote. And so some people in Catalonia think between all of those things and the fact that only 40% of the electorate voted and that a lot of people who were against it stayed home, they say that kind of vote doesn't really give a mandate to the government to declare independence. Now the government clearly disagrees in Catalonia because they voted for independence today, but there is that debate within Catalonia too. So let's continue here talking about this situation. This is this New York Times article. Before the independence vote, Marta Rovira, a separatist lawmaker, told the assembly that today we start on a new path to build a better country. She added, "We are creating a country free of repression. Catalan lawmakers who voted for independence could face prosecution for sedition or even rebellion." So, for all you know, the Spanish government's going to come in and arrest the president of Catalonia and start arresting lawmakers. Don't know if they will, but could happen. Let's see here. In the streets outside Parliament, Marta Ribas, a Catalan lawmaker, said that Madrid's use of Article 155 was unjustified, but also argued it's a mistake to respond to one outrageous act with another outrageous act. She added, "A declaration of independence will not protect us from the 155, quite the contrary." So she's worried about the Spanish government coming in and what they're going to do in Catalonia now. In the streets outside Parliament in Barcelona, not far from a boisterous pro-independence rally, a few Catalans quietly expressed similar frustrations. The October 1st, and this is the point I was talking about, this person on the street said the October 1st referendum did not give the Catalan government the legitimacy to vote to secede, said Federico Escolar, 53, a cafe owner. Let's see if there's anything else I want to mention here. According to the New York Times, Mr. Puigdemont's government in Catalonia has been flouting Spain's constitution since early September, when separatist lawmakers voted to hold a binding referendum on independence on October 1st as a key step towards statehood. Catalans who went to the polls, as I was saying, voted overwhelmingly to approve independence, but the referendum took place without legal guarantees and with most opponents of independence staying away, and as I said, only about 40% of eligible voters showed up. The referendum was marred by clashes between the Spanish National Police and Catalan citizens that left hundreds injured, including police officers. And speaking of police, there's this other question of what's going to happen with the armed forces in Catalonia. The day of the referendum, the Catalonian police did not stop the referendum. Spanish government wanted them, the Catalonian police, they have their own police force there. The Spanish government wanted the Catalonian police to help stop the referendum, which Spanish government said was illegal, but they did not. And I believe a couple of leaders of the Spanish police are being prosecuted or held in custody for that. I have to check that. But there's this question: if Spain says, "Hey, Catalonia police, you got to help us, take over Catalonia," and Catalonian police says no, what happens then? Do we see Catalonian police start siding with the demonstrators in Catalonia who want independence? Are there some clashes between Catalonian police, who are armed obviously, and Spanish police? Again, another worrying possibility. Let's see here. I want to see if I can find anything about that police situation there. Does this article have anything about it? And just a little bit of detail about the vote today in Parliament in Catalonia. 52 opposition lawmakers abandoned the parliament in protest at what they branded a direct attack on Spain's constitution and an affront to Catalans who don't support secession. Of those who remained, 70 voted in favor of independence and 10 against, while 2 lawmakers voted in blank. And the Spanish constitution does not, according to the Spanish government, provide for for secession. Now, does it say anything about the Spanish police here? No, they don't have anything in here about it either. Oh, here's something here. In a speech Friday morning before the Senate in Madrid, Mr. Rajoy promised to remove Carles Puigdemont, Catalonia's president and the leader of separatists, as well as his cabinet, if Madrid received approval to trigger Article 155, which that approval was received today. So will we see Spain remove the president of Catalonia and its other leaders? And I have some updates on Twitter for you that I want to show you about this. But first, I want to see if you guys have any comments about this story. Write to me at Lookner on Twitter. Let me know if you have any comments. Also, if you like our broadcast, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you know when we're coming on the air to cover breaking news. We come on the air all the time. Also, you can follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting and on Twitter at RSB Network. And if you like the broadcast, we love if you like the video on YouTube and share it on Facebook, because we're a really small company. We can't afford to advertise. So when you like the video on YouTube and share it on Facebook, that really lets other people know about Right Side Broadcasting and that we're doing these videos. Thanks again to the moderators in the YouTube chat and the website for moderating the chat. All right, I want to just check my messages here. Oh, and I forgot to say there was some reaction from, before I do that, there's some reaction from other countries today. And a lot of countries are coming out and saying, including the US, and saying they do not recognize this Declaration of Independence. They respect the Spanish government's position that this is illegal and that it's Catalonia is part of Spain. So, for example, let me show you this. BNO News says, update, Germany, Britain, France, Ukraine, Cyprus, and the US say they will not recognize the Catalan Republic. And there was a statement from the US State Department today about this. US State Department on Catalan independence. Catalonia is an integral part of Spain. So the State Department said, United States on US support, statement by Heather Nauert, spokesperson on U.S. support for Spanish unity. The United States enjoys a great friendship and enduring partnership with our NATO ally, Spain. Our two countries cooperate closely to advance our shared security and economic priorities. Catalonia is an integral part of Spain, can't be separated. And the United States supports the Spanish government's constitutional measures to keep Spain strong and united. So, U.S. is supporting the Spanish government in this. Interesting, though, no warning even in this. This statement doesn't even say, like, we agree with Spain that this is illegal, but we hope Spain and Catalonia solve their issues non-violently. Like, there's no kind of like, hey, Spain, we hope you don't go in there and start beating people up and firing weapons at people and stuff, and forcibly taking things over. So that's interesting to see. All right, I want to check the messages here. Reagan Better says, will United Nations forces be sent to Catalonia for peacekeeping? I could only see something like that happen if there was some active military situation, some military conflict going on there. This is not something the UN's going to get involved with at this point. And also, you know, a lot of countries don't want to see this independence movement succeed because a lot of countries have their own groups within the countries that might want independence or might want greater autonomy, and they might feel that these groups would be emboldened if Catalonia could successfully pull out of Spain. So for those different reasons, UN, and that's not, UN doesn't normally get involved in domestic political disputes like this. It would only be if there was some kind of like big humanitarian crisis, say there was some huge military conflict going on and then there was a truce, and maybe at that point, you know, you might see forces go in to keep the forces apart, but we're a long way away from that. Abel writes in, not troops but police. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Abel. You might be referring to who Spain would send in to enforce their taking over of the Catalonian government. And I have heard that they could send in both police or troops. It could be either, not sure. Garrett says, are there any reports known of George Soros meddling in Spain, Catalonia? That would be something he did in Eastern Europe too. I have heard nothing connecting George Soros to the events in Catalonia. Okay, I'm going to show you some updates on Twitter. A couple things. Zhanks writes in, there is absolutely no way that Spain would let this happen without bloodshed. And it's a good point, Zhanks, in the sense of Spain did show when the referendum happened that they are not averse to using force and harsh force to quell this movement. I mean, many of you saw, and we covered it here, But many of you have seen video from that day during the referendum on October 1st in Catalonia, where you had troops manhandling, punching, kicking unarmed women, unarmed old people. It got pretty violent there, and it was for a lot of people it was pretty scary to see that. So certainly I don't think it should be doubted that Spain would use forcible measures to go in and take over Catalonia. Maybe something will happen this weekend. We just don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it's moving toward that. Hopefully that does not happen. Hopefully they can work this out peacefully. One more comment here. Patriot of Truth writes in, this story is connected to the debate between the United Kingdom and the European Union. By observing the facts, we can see that the EU is led by unfair laws and no friendship toward the people, unlike the United Kingdom. All right, I want to show you some other updates I saw about this story that have been coming out today. And once again, thank you, Lars, for your donation. We are viewer supported, so if you like our broadcasts, want to keep us on the air, we only can stay on the air thanks to your donation. So if you'd like to donate, go to the bottom of the YouTube chat and click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Okay, just getting you some more updates here. Give me 1 second just to scroll through here, please. By the way, WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, who is basically WikiLeaks, have been very supportive of the Catalonian independence movement. So he has posted supportive tweets today, I've seen. And then WikiLeaks just posted this, and it says, "This is the moment. Catalonia declared independence from Spain today. Parliamentary votes are being read out. See yes. No, no." Semper Victorum made a $1 donation. Thank you, Semper Victorum. We really appreciate it. Those donations are what keeps us on the air. Thank you so much. Okay, let me show you some more updates here. The Spain report says a few thousand people are outside Catalan government headquarters in central Barcelona. Now, from what I had heard a report on Sky News that said people are committed to staying outside of these buildings and defending these buildings. So a big problem that happens, you have to imagine that if Spain wants to take over the government of Catalonia, they'd want to take over the Parliament building and the big government buildings. But this is the Catalan government headquarters in central Barcelona. If they go to take over this building, you have all those people there. What's going to happen? I mean, I guess they could fire tear gas maybe and try to clear people out that way. But it might not be a pretty scene if that happens. Oh, and I wanted to find out for you about the Catalonia, the heads of police in Catalonia, who I thought were in custody, or at least being prosecuted. Let me check this for you real quick. Hold on. And I have to go. I'm looking up an article, and I have to put in my password to get in there. So give me 1 second. Let me do this and see if I can get you that information. It might take too long, in which case I will abandon it. Oh, here it is. Because that really, I think, that little detail gives a sense of how serious things are getting there. All right, there's that. Can I call this up here? Okay, I got it. Okay, I have the article, and I'm trying to find here. Here we go. This is from The Economist. They say on October 16th, that was 11 days ago, a judge of the National Court in Madrid ordered the pre-trial detention of the leaders of 2 secessionist social movements. That's what it is. There was this thing about the police too. I got to look that up. But 2 of the secessionist movements, the leaders of 2 secessionist movements, are in pre-trial detention. They're being investigated for sedition for directing a demonstration in Barcelona in September in which protesters destroyed 3 police vehicles. So, some people might say that's totally understandable, that you would detain these people if they had these violent riots, but supposedly some people are upset about that in Catalonia. But I can't find the thing about the police right now. Anyways, let me give you more updates about what's going on. So here are some updates. So the NATO Secretary General says that is not supporting the Catalonia independence referendum. He's saying NATO Secretary General says not a chance, must be resolved within Spain's constitutional order. Jens Stoltenberg said Catalonia issue must be resolved within Spain's constitutional order. Spain is committed ally with important contributions to our security. Thank you, Lynn C, for the donation. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Where is this other thing I wanted to show you? There it is. Here are some updates from earlier today. This is people celebrating independence declaration with chanting and champagne in a massive march. Okay. This was earlier today. The President of Spain, Rajoy, says declaring independence is a criminal act. The government will take the necessary decisions to regain legality in Catalonia. When will this happen? When will this happen? Frank Sorley just made a donation from Norway. Thank you, Frank. Very much appreciated. Those donations help keep us on the air. Thank you, Frank. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this. I do not know what's going to happen there. I mean, with the independence referendum on October 1st, they said they were going to shut it down, and they sent in troops to do it. They sent in, police forces to do it. So, and they were riot police there, and they used force. And so Rajoy now is saying, they declared independence. We told them not to. We told them if they declared independence, we're going to take over their government. They declared it. He now has the authority, and he says, we're going to take the necessary actions to regain legality in Catalonia. He said yesterday they're going to arrest, I think he said they're going to arrest the president of Spain, president of Catalonia. They're certainly going to take him out of power and the other leaders. So when is this going to happen? How is it going to be done? And I am just adjusting the temperature in here. Excuse me 1 second while I do this. There we go. Better. So that's really, and that could happen anytime. That could happen tonight. That could happen tomorrow. Will the Spanish government delay in doing this in the hope of some kind of peaceful settlement? This is all stuff we're just watching right now. No one really knows what's going to happen there. What do you think is going to happen? Write to me on Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. Let me know. A Badger Fool sent me a post that someone had posted on Twitter. An account called Catalan Referendum. I don't know whose account it is. It says, "Hello world, we are the Catalan Republic." And Lars Anderson made another donation. Thank you, Lars. And Lars said, "Catalonians fight against globalism." Thank you so much, Lars. Really appreciate it. All the way from Sweden. Thank you. Then Badger Fool also sent me a link to a story. I'll let you guys read this. I'm not going to read it now, and it's in a different language. So Badger Fool sent me this, and Badger Fool says, there would appear to be some Soros money involved, but not massive amounts. So this is a story in Spanish about George Soros financing, I think the independence movement, but I can't really say. And $27,000. I'd have to read the article and translate it. So Badger Fool says there would appear to be some Soros money involved, but not massive amounts. I don't even know this publication, so feel free to go to lavanguardia.com and look it up for yourself. Rene Lafleur says, it is sad that Spain will remove the Catalan heads of state and all of these people will be under duress. Abel writes, Spain has extra national police and Guardia Civil plus 9,000 in Barcelona. Anyone here talks about move the army yet? Are you saying no one there is talking about moving the army yet? Or are you in Spain, Abel? That's another thing I'm trying to figure out. Thank you for writing in, Abel. Doug Ends, I'll say ends. Doug Ends. No, if I say that, it sounds like it's a racial word. It's not a racial word. It's a different word. Doug Ends says, have you discussed how restrictive Spain Catalonia is with right to bear arms? Could you look it up? Thanks. Do you mean Spain and Catalonia in general, what their arms policy is? I have no idea. I'm going to look up, can you carry a gun in Spain? Oh, you're asking because you want to know how many guns are out there. And it's a good question. You're saying because if there starts to be violence there, how many guns will people have? I see what your question is. So I see one website that says the regulation here. I'll show you. This is a site about guns in Spain, and it says, from the Library of Congress, and it says firearms control legislation and policy Spain, and it says the regulation of guns in Spain is highly restrictive. The bearing of arms by civilians is not considered a right but a privilege that may be granted by the government if legal conditions are met. Guns are regulated, blah, blah, blah. Firearms licenses for personal security are restricted to those who can prove that a real danger to their security exists. Automatic weapons are strictly forbidden. So it sounds like there are not that many guns in Spain from that quick detail. But I don't know. I can't tell from that one thing how many people have them. I mean, maybe a lot of people have gone through the legal process and have gotten guns. How many people have guns in Spain? Let's see if I can get that. Here's this. Here's an article. From El País, which is a respected news organization. Now, where is Spain has another 3 million registered arms belonging to 1.1 million civilians, most of whom have ostensibly bought their weapon for hunting. So that is not that much, because the Spanish population is 46 million. And it says they only have 1.1 million gun owners, about 46 million, and only 3 million guns. In the United States, there are more guns than people. So it's not that many guns there, which is, I guess, good in terms of maybe lessening possible violence, but who knows? Especially if you have, police starting to get into the act, and maybe, we'll have to see. So hopefully there's no violence there, but maybe if there starts to be violence, a few people get their hands on guns or bring guns in. It's a whole crazy thing. But a good question, though. Red in Maryland says, do the leaders of the Catalonia government have communist leaning? I have not heard that they're prominently communist, and I'm not aware of that. Maybe there are some in the movement, but I am not aware of it being a communist movement. None of my reading has turned that up. Oh, Badger Fool said you did translate the page in the screenshot you posted. Oh, did you translate it? I didn't say you didn't translate it. I was saying you're saying when I got the link, I clicked on it and it wasn't translated. I didn't think, I thought that you read it though, Badger Fool. I didn't think you didn't read it. And Father Andrew Moore writes in, I think moderates in Spain will oust Rajoy and agree to a free and fair December 20th referendum. It's the only way to put the question to rest. So I will say this though, Father Andrew Moore, thank you for writing in. The majority who voted to grant Prime Minister Rajoy powers under Article 155 to take over Catalonia today, he got a vast majority in the Spanish parliament today. So there does seem to be a lot of support in Spain for, in general, for taking over Catalonia and suppressing this movement. Now, if things start going badly there and there's some violence, does that level of support change? I don't know, but for now, at least, it seems like there's a decent amount of support there for President Rajoy to quell this movement there. And yes, Badger Fool, we will be covering on Right Side Broadcasting the Sarah Sanders White House press briefing. It's at 2:30 today, and I will be on for the post show of that. Doug N says it's my real name. All right, Doug. I might have to say it. I can't tell, Doug. Maybe if you send me a photo of like some kind of official document, then I can say it. Otherwise, I don't want to say words on the air that will upset our viewers. Oh, let's see. The name is pronounced with a long I. So it's Doug Niples. Doug Niples. Doug Niples. Is that what you're saying? Long I and accent is on the end. Doug Niples. All right, Doug. We said your name. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, the White House press briefing will be at 2:30. We're going to be covering that. And Gossamer sent me an article saying maybe Soros is involved, which I'll show you, and you can look it up at your leisure. This was the article Gossamer sent me. You can find this sent me at voltairenet.org. It says George Soros is funding the independence of Catalonia. So if you want to read that article, go to voltairenet.org. I have not read it. I cannot speak for its veracity. Okay, I think at this point we are going to wrap up the stream because we have to, we're going to soon cover the Sarah Sanders White House press briefing. That's going to take place at 2:30 p.m. I will be on for the post show after. So thank you for joining us during this stream. We will certainly be keeping an eye on the situation in Spain tonight, this weekend, and going forward. So if you want to know when we're coming on the air with breaking news videos, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell. Also, I will be posting breaking news on Twitter even when we're not on the air, so you can follow me on Twitter at @Lookner, at Lookner. Follow Right Side on Twitter at RSB Network, and you can follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting. Thank you so much to people who donated. That keeps us on the air, so we really appreciate it. If you want to donate to Right Side Broadcasting, we are viewer supported. You can donate and support us by going to the bottom of the YouTube chat and clicking on the $ at the bottom of the chat room, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Also, again, we love when you like our videos on YouTube and share them on Facebook to get the word out about Right Side Broadcasting. Thanks so much to the moderators. In the YouTube chat, we got Barbara Braley, JC, Guinevere. Who else was there today? Maybe others I missed before. And Real Frank, Common Sense, and Gleno, and the website. And thank you all for sending in all your comments and your questions. We appreciate that, and your links. And thank you, most of all, thank you all for watching on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever. We might have been on Twitch today, too. So wherever you were watching, thank you for watching Right Side Broadcasting. So to find the Sarah Sanders White House press briefing, that's on Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube. Just go to our YouTube page. You can find the broadcast there. Click on it. And I will see you guys after the press briefing for the post show. And we'll keep our eye on the news. So, if there's breaking news tonight, this weekend, we will see you for that. But for now, have a great afternoon. And from all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting, thank you for joining us for this broadcast.